Hi everyone, I recently had the question around how to format a date when a date has been passed as a variable from one task form to another. So this is obviously in Nintex Workflow Cloud, and so we've got the first approver action here, and what we're doing is we've got a form in here and they're collecting a date time, and hide time is turned on. All good. Then we go to the second approval task and we go to edit form. And if we go to the variable passed from the first task, which is date time, we'll notice here it is read-only because variables from the first task are read-only, you can't update them. And that means that these properties are also read-only. Now, what also has happened is you can't hide the time. This has been restricted. Now, what if you did just want to show a date or format the date or whatever that might be? How do you go about that? Now, what I would do is I would delete the datetime control from here and actually just use build your own. So I'd say drag on a text short and we'll just call it date time, because no one's going to update the date or time, so they don't need it to look like a datetime control. It just needs to have the information. Then we can put a default value, which is the default value is populated on the first form load. So when the task form opens, it's going to set its default value. So what we're going to do is to say format date. So if we look at the format date function here, so format date, this works by saying format the date and give it a date time value, which is going to be our workflow variable here in date time. So we insert that, and then we give it the syntax we saw before. So let's scroll down, dd mm yyyy. So as you can see, the syntax that you could use, so you could just say dd mm yyyy, or any sort of variation of that. Now I've got to make sure I close my brackets there, my quotation marks there. So now that's going to remove the time, even though the variable, we couldn't hide the time, we can actually just hide the time by formatting the date here. So pressing insert, it's going to put that into the default value of the control. So let's press apply changes, let's publish, and let's run this workflow and see how it goes. Okay, opening up the form, and let's kick off the workflow. I'm just going to collect an email address for the approver for those two actions. So I'm just going to put my Hotmail address, press submit. Okay, so that workflow is started. I can close that window and we can close the designer. We can check if our instances are running. So first thing, go to my instances, check if so that last one's come through. It's 5:57. It's running, and then I can come through to my tasks if I wanted to see if the task has come through. So at the moment it hasn't. Then I go to my email. We can just check if my emails come through. So we'll just press refresh and see if anything's come through. Any task here yet? Okay, so first approver task has come through, and in my email, here we go. So here's the first task that I've got. So please approve. Pretty simple sort of thing for this example. Clicking on the link, opening up the task form. Now this is the step where we want to collect the date and time from the first approval task. So I select the 26th of September 2019. Now notice it doesn't have the time included, and if we were to leave it for the second task, it would actually show the time as well. So what we've done with that function that I showed you before, it's actually stripping off the time, and we can actually format that date any which way we want. So if we come back and we check our tasks again, check our email, oh, it's already come through. So we can click on the email. Here comes our second approver. Now this is a different date format to what we had on the first one. You can format it any which way you want, but what I've done is shown that you can actually strip off the time from the date time control and just show it as a read-only field. I've actually not put this as a read-only, so I can come back, I can go to my workflow and update that to read-only. So what then happens here is, so I just set it to read-only, so it seems like it's just a variable like you would see here. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know in the comments. Cheers.